Hey everyone, welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, your cozy corner for whispers, truth-seeking, and those heart-thumping twists that only the world of fame can deliver. Settle in, because what we're about to unravel has been buzzing in DMs, dressing rooms, and on set corridors for weeks. The rumor that swept across timelines like wildfire claims a shocking turn in the relationship between Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel. A couple so admired, so in sync on screen and off, that the word marriage wasn't just a dream, it was part of their daily vocabulary. So how did a love story that felt destined begin to fracture at the very moment everyone expected a ring, a date, a happily ever after? Let's walk through the echoes, the silences, and all the delicate details swirling around this emotional storm. Sources close to the pair say that the talk of marriage didn't arrive overnight. It grew slowly, like a secret planted in late-night conversations and carried by coffee cups on sleepy set mornings. Friends describe how Barış, warm and romantic but sometimes swept up by the intensity of his own feelings, began sharing bold declarations about the future. He reportedly didn't just hint, he insisted, heart on sleeve, that he was ready to craft something lasting with Yağmur. And at first, she was careful. She was protective of her rhythm, building momentum in her career with steady, thoughtful steps. But over time, as he spoke with sincerity and consistency, as he wove future plans with names of cities and scenes from their imagined life, she softened. Those who saw them together during that period swear the connection felt genuine and grounded. There was laughter, collaboration, and a sense that both were moving in the same direction. Then something shifted. That's what the whispers say. Something subtle, almost imperceptible at first. As the idea of marriage began to leave the realm of sweet conversation and step into action, talks of engagement, of families meeting, of timing and press strategy, an undercurrent of doubt started to pull at Barış. He spoke to confidants about responsibility. About the relentless pace of his schedule. About offers piling up and the fear that making a promise in stone could reshape everything from his freedom to his focus. Friends say he came across as conflicted, not insincere, but overwhelmed by the weight of what marriage means when millions watch and every silent moment is translated into headlines. There's more. Those same voices insist that differences in their personalities, long tendered with respect, started to rub against each other as planning grew real. Yağmur is methodical, the type to map routes before a trip, the type to know where the time will go and how the heart will be protected along the way. Barış is a creature of feeling, drawn to the fire of now, decisive in the moment and then, sometimes, complicated by that very momentum. No one is right, no one is wrong, just different rhythms that in the everyday were charming and complementary, but in the high-stakes tension of wedding decisions, amplified into friction. Those small disagreements, over the venue vibe, the guest list scale, whether to announce or to slip quietly into commitment, began to echo. A friend of a friend says what started as playful banter became raised voices behind closed doors. Meanwhile, people in their orbit supposedly warned Barış that early marriage might be risky at a career peak. Managers, older colleagues, even well-meaning relatives may have offered cautionary tales. Once you commit, priorities rearrange, fans react, opportunities narrow. Those warnings, insiders suggest, landed heavily on someone already wrestling with big decisions. And then there's the heart of it, how it felt for her. The whispers insist that Yağmur, having finally allowed herself to trust the horizon he painted, felt blindsided by any hint of retreat. She had taken her time precisely to protect her balance, only to find that when she leaned in, the ground began to shake. People close to her describe a period of withdrawal, a turning inward. She threw herself into her scripts, her training, the quiet rituals that keep a person steady. One confidant claims she said something like, "If the talk hadn't been so clear, I would have kept my distance." It's the kind of sentence you only say when disappointment runs deep and you're trying to stop the break from spreading to the rest of your life. They haven't spoken publicly. That's important. No official statement, no formal explanation, just silence that works like a magnifying glass over every digital breadcrumb. Fans are split. There are those who criticize Barış for not following through on the promises he supposedly made, And there are those who argue that commitment should never come from pressure, that caution is better than a hurried step into something sacred. Either way, the conversation has exploded across social platforms, where every like, every caption, every missing photo becomes a clue. It gets more layered. Some say this wasn't a sudden decision for Barış, not at all. They claim it was a slow build, a quiet accumulation of doubt, the kind you don't notice until it fills the room. He is rumored to have told someone in his inner circle that he might have moved too fast with the talk of rings and dates. The logistics became heavy: engagement ceremonies, families entering the equation, calendars that had to be coordinated across production cycles and event seasons. What once felt romantic started to feel like planning a stage performance bigger than any he'd ever done. During this stretch, communication reportedly thinned. Not vanished, but thinned. Messages took longer. Conversations that once solved everything became "we'll talk later." And when they did talk, the topics were sharper. Yağmur is said to have asked for clarity, and not unreasonably so. She wanted to know whether they were building the same home, the same future, at the same pace. Barış, according to a source, often sat in that uneasy space between yes and no. All or nothing meant not now, and the emotional toll of that collision wore through their patience. What began to look inevitable was not a dramatic explosion, but a steady, weary unraveling. Remember, too, how solid and focused Yağmur has been lately. Role after role, magazine features, brand interest, she is in a moment where choices matter. People who admire her work ethic believe this made her firmer about the future. If marriage was coming, it needed to align with everything else she was carefully shaping. If it wasn't, then she wouldn't allow herself to linger in a halfway state that uses up time and heart. Another thread woven into the story involves their families. While both have kept their loved ones out of the spotlight, speculation suggests the traditional expectations on either side didn't always match. A seating chart here, an engagement custom there, a suggestion from an elder that landed harshly on a modern sensibility, the usual frictions of marriage talk, but viewed under the celebrity microscope. To someone already feeling boxed in, the formality of these steps may have felt like a door closing behind him, one latch at a time. Online clues fed the flames. Shared photos vanished. Comments that once arrived within minutes of posting seemed to stop. The playful rhythm of their public interactions became a quiet space. People noticed that Yağmur's captions turned more introspective, her images more solitary, as if she were standing near windows more often, letting soft light fall where words wouldn't. Meanwhile, Barış's content leaned into sets, scripts, and night shoots, the refuge of work when personal life goes complicated. But nothing about this appears to have one culprit or one cause. From the outside, it looks like the kind of mixture that often undoes beautiful things: timing, pressure, personality, and the sheer difficulty of aligning two big lives moving very fast. It's not that they didn't care. It's that caring didn't make the differences disappear. The closer they got to the edge of a defining decision, the clearer those differences became. People who saw them in recent weeks tell stories that break the heart a little. A quiet car ride where they looked forward instead of at each other. A set visit where smiles were polite and sparse. A late-night conversation captured by someone in a cafe, not overheard, but felt, their body language carrying the story, palms open, shoulders tense, eyes soft with apology. In another whisper, a stylist swears they saw a ring sketch in a notebook weeks ago, a shape that never made it into metal. When love lingers in ideas, reality can feel cruel. Of course, this is the world of showbiz, where every pause becomes a paragraph. Some optimists say the space might be a test, a moment to breathe before a reset. Others insist the split is final, not angry but resolute, a choice to preserve what was good rather than grind it down through more arguments over dates and promises. A few insiders say that if reconciliation comes, it won't be soon, and it won't be loud. It would arrive quietly, in private, after both rebuild their sense of certainty. There's a lesson here that fans across the comment sections have been trading back and forth: love can be true and still not be on schedule. Devotion can light up a room and still dim under the weight of expectations neither partner asked for but both felt. The public may crave fairy tale arcs, but the people living those arcs have to navigate real trade-offs. Sleep lost to shoots, scripts learning at midnight, press deadlines, family dinners, and the silent moment after a long day when you ask yourself if you have the room to carry someone else's dreams alongside your own. And where does that leave us now? In a familiar place for celebrity watchers but a tender one for the hearts involved, waiting. Waiting to see if one of them speaks. Waiting to see if an appearance together pops the bubble of speculation. Waiting to see whether the smiles return to the same frame, or whether they can only be found separately for a while. For now, everything official lives in the shadow of the unspoken, and every fan, every friend, every follower will decide what story to believe until the two people at the center choose to tell it in their own words. From where we sit, the timeline feels clear even if the end is not. Earnest promises, careful acceptance, growing pressure, simmering differences, a tide of advice from outside, a retreat into work, the slow fade of public affection, and a silence that says more than any carefully crafted statement ever could. If this is the end for Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel, it is not a scandal, it is a sadness, not a betrayal, but a misalignment. And if it's a pause, not a goodbye, then time will be the only witness worth trusting. Until then, we honor the parts of their journey that made so many believe in them. The way they laughed when no one asked them to. The way they defended each other in interviews without turning it into a spectacle. The way their work shined brighter when they were collaborating, as if the echo of their connection helped both hit deeper notes. These are the reasons people cared, the reasons today's whispers sting so much. We'll keep watching with empathy, not just curiosity. And when there's something real to share, you'll hear it here first. This is Turkish Spotlight Secrets, where we follow the truth with a soft step and a steady gaze. If you're still with us, take a breath, hold space for both of them, and remember that the most human stories unfold off camera, in the quiet, away from the likes and the noise.